Thank you for joining me today. It's Brian Gubernick, and welcome to the No Days Off podcast, where we believe that every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about a topic I've actually covered before at No Days Off, and a topic discussed by one of my favorite guys, Naval Ravikant, and that topic is specialized knowledge. But I want to go a little bit deeper around this concept of specialized knowledge and how we go about developing it, how we should go about thinking it, why it even matters, and get you thinking a little bit more about your specialized knowledge. So let's start by defining specialized knowledge, okay? So Naval Ravikant defines specialized knowledge as a deep expertise or a deep understanding of a specific domain or area of interest that he believes is a key factor in achieving success and fulfillment in your career. So Naval suggests that people should strive to become the best in the world at what they do or what they focus on or a specific niche, something that they can excel in, provide unique value, and differentiate themselves. By developing this type of knowledge, this specialized knowledge, individuals separate themselves and they create greater impact in their chosen field. So an example of specialized knowledge may be something that literally you go in, learn, like a technical skill, let's say, that you are just better at than others around you, than your competition. It could be a broader skill too, like sales, but that becomes your specialized knowledge in that if you're the greatest salesman or saleswoman, in that you know how to ask questions, identify pain, come up with solutions better than everybody else around you, that would be considered specialized knowledge. Now, let's stay in the sales field. Maybe there's a niche within sales. Let's say real estate. Maybe you're the distressed property expert, or maybe you're the luxury market expert, or maybe you're the local community expert. If you develop this specialized knowledge, if you carve out a niche and you become the best in the world at that, this is what Naval believes is the future of being successful. When I say future, Naval is looking out into the future and he's saying, hey, the world's different. Competition's different. There's a few different things you need to do to separate yourself from the pack, and one of these things is, in fact, acquiring specialized knowledge. Maybe a different way to look at this: the jack of all trades generalist is really going to struggle, according to Naval, in the future, and I agree. Now, as we're talking about specialized knowledge, it's been on my mind, right? Like I take a look at Naval's work all the time. Just a month or two ago, we had our mastermind group review some of Naval's work yet again. And so it's been top of mind for me. So you know how that goes. When it becomes top of mind, that Raz gets going and you start to think about or see other things. Well, how do we go about developing this specialized knowledge? I'll tell you one thing that stands out to me, or one thing I've been thinking about recently, totally separate. It's going to sound funny how there's a relationship here, but years back, I learned about the Acton Academy, a school based out of Austin, an amazing program and an amazing concept in that it's a non-traditional school system where they believe in self-directed learning and more collaboration and kind of the one-room schoolhouse. And it's different, right? It's not a lot of memorization. It's a lot more action and collaboration between the students. Well, one thing that Acton teaches, and the thing that drew me to the program, which is why I had my daughters in it for a period of time, they have this concept, or this is how I interpret it, and I remember talking to the founder of the school. He had said to me, Brian, he said, when you have, let's say, an A, a B, and 3 C's in school, where does the teacher tend to focus his or her attention with that student? And the answer in the traditional school system is on the C's. And this individual I was talking to said, you know what? It's great to get the C's up to a higher level, but I'll tell you where the focus should really be. The focus should be on that A. And we should take the kid that has an A in that subject and make them a superhero. Take that A to an A++ and let them develop a passion and a specific skill set and let them become a superhero in that niche. Now, that's not to say you should neglect the C's, but his argument was we're putting the energy towards the wrong areas. Rather than taking someone from maybe below average to average or average to slightly above average, why don't we take something they're already exceptional at and make them a superhero? And so when I think about specialized knowledge, I also think about this concept of, improving where there's deficiency, but doubling or tripling down on an area that you're already excelling in, which kind of leads to the last thing that's shown up recently for me. Again, the Raz is going, right? So a few weeks ago, I'm listening to my favorite podcast, which is the Ed Milet podcast, which hopefully is your second favorite because you're a big fan of NDO. But Ed Milet interviewed, of all people, Jason Derulo, the award-winning singer. He's got so many songs out. I didn't even realize how many songs this guy's put out. But what I didn't know about Jason was, aside from having an amazing music career, he's an extraordinary entrepreneur. It's great. It's a great interview. You should listen to it. He's just recently come out with a book. But one thing that Jason said in the interview with Ed, and I'm sure it's in the book, I haven't read it yet. Jason said that one of the keys to success is working hardest at what comes easiest to you. Start your career, especially start your career, and if you want to go from good to great, work hardest at what comes easiest to you. Work hard at the low-hanging fruit. What Jason had said was certain things are within your wheelhouse and certain things take a little more work. And the example he used, he said something to the effect of, I've always had a really strong falsetto in terms of his singing voice. I've always had a really strong falsetto, and I've just leaned into that. And then I could become exceptional at it and world-class at it instead of, trying to work on his weaknesses and just become average. So where am I going with this whole conversation today? Maybe I'll ask you the focusing question here. Where do you possess specialized knowledge? Where would you say you are world class? For most of us, we may have some things we're passionate about, but we may not be at that world class level. And why aren't we at that world class level? There's a good chance that we are not spending the time, energy, resources, etc., focusing on mastering that, becoming a superhero. And instead, we're looking to improve on our areas of weakness, our areas of deficiency. Maybe those things that are below average or average, and just trying to get them up from a C grade to a B. Well, I want to challenge you today. The focusing question being, what are you already doing really well that if you went even harder at, if you worked even harder at what maybe naturally comes to you, or work even harder at something you've developed over time but haven't fully mastered just yet, haven't fully put 10,000 plus hours into, what might that be? What subject might that be? And how do you start spending greater focus on it today? Is it a niche within your business? Is it a skill that you've recognized that others may not possess? Is it a passion that you have where you're willing to work round the clock because you don't even see it as work? In the spirit of being successful, according to Naval, according to Jason Derulo, and according to the Acton Academy, we ought to double down, triple down on those things that we're already doing pretty well and become absolutely, absolutely extraordinary. Think about that today. I think there's a lot to draw from it. That's all we have for today, the No Days Off podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, every single day brings a new opportunity to get better. So let's get after it.